All right. Hey, what's up, everybody here? For those who do not know me, my name is Neil, or Shiblord on the Discords and on the Twitters of the world. So definitely appreciate you guys joining in here. We hope to have a very good and engaging discussion via different topics here and reference to some events that did just occur previously, as well as how we're going to move forward today and into the future. So first and foremost, I would like to formally advise that our protocol is obviously a different name, right? Different name, different function, different many of things. So Protocol X is going to be what we're going to be running off of here. There's going to be a lot of different plays into that'll be brought out little by little. I know I've already teased a little bit about X shares, which is basically like a revenue share NFT system, but there'll be plenty of things to work off of from there. So keep that in mind as we are navigating around. Obviously, you are all in here, so you have seen that there has been a change in the graphics as well as the terminology used, which is a great thing in my opinion. So also, I'd like to go over a little bit of the restructure from the team side. So obviously at the top, there is only me at this point, right? So Green Yeti and Frey are no longer a part of what was Bigfoot and what is now Protocol X. So if you are curious about where they are not here anymore for a variety of reasons. Green Yeti will be orchestrating and using something involving the NFT marketplace. I don't believe they have a Discord yet, but once they do, I told them that I'll shill it out a little bit from here so you guys can go check that out as well. Frey is obviously doing his own thing. If you haven't seen his protocol, you can go join Frey Labs, and he's got a little bit going on over there. So check them out in their own respective fields of work. But that being said, that is no longer the core team. So the way this structure is going to work is there's myself as the founder, CEO, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter. Reason that is not that I don't trust these people that I'm going to bring, that I'm telling you that are now going to be in the team, but it's just to prevent any potential conflict like I just went through previously to continue going forward. It was honestly too stressful. I didn't enjoy it, and I tried to resolve it many a times before it eventually did get resolved, just to get the nonsense away in order to move forward. Nevertheless, no pointing fingers, no personal attacks, no blame, doesn't matter. All that's in the past, cannot cry over spilled milk. So now we move forward. So I'd like to introduce just a little bit on how the team structure is going to be. So obviously, like I said, I'll be the founder, the top of that totem pole, so to speak, but I'm not an authoritative, communistic kind of individual. The people that are now in this Protocol X team are not only significantly involved in the day-to-day, but also in the integration and development of this entire protocol. So keep that in mind. Everyone that I'm about to list off here are very entangled into what's happening here. So first, I'll just go right down the line that I have it in the list here. So as for the admin, bots, lead mod, all of the above, that's going to be Crypto Cruelty. CK here, he's joined us. Then we have our community manager, Bran, also acting obviously kind of just guiding the mods, but also guiding the flow of the community. He'll be helping a lot more with the socials in general, but also, like I said, the development and integration of this protocol into the future, as well as the development side of it. I'll have a couple advisors. That's going to be Adam, who's also taking like a lead mod role, and Sally, who's basically modding, but also just kind of the advisor role. This will be more important as I integrate into some of the future real world developments. Sally and I have been friends for years at this point in the real world, so I'd like to have good people that I can trust and know and be involved with as we move forward and integrate into the future. Let's see, make sure I didn't miss anybody. So Wox is going to be the lead graphics designer as well, and just keep that in mind. He is very much so involved in not just the graphics, but also just kind of the general flow of the websites and the designs, and he's been such a great asset in that orchestration. Once you guys see the website, you are going to be thoroughly impressed. I would very likely see or imagine. So I look forward to giving you guys some of that alpha as well. And that'll be the general structure of it. So there's myself, there's CK, there's Bran, there's Wox, there's admin, and then there's Sally. So that's going to be the general team here that we're working with. Obviously, Flex is still going to be in his role there as game master. I would love to have that incorporated as a very regular event as we move forward. The way I am structuring this, it gives us an opportunity to do these sort of things without just using USDC. We could start using tokens. I can start using things that'll incorporate even a burn structure or just a just a greater expansion of our capabilities there. So I'd like Flex to get as creative as he wishes to on that department. That's where he's kind of zoned in here, which is fantastic. Obviously, of course, he can also mod whenever he'd like because he has plenty of experience in that field, and that's where I originally met Flex many a moons ago. So that is still something that'll be happening here, hopefully more regularly as we move into the future, but we need some time to get those new tokens minted and developed and everything orchestrated here. So I'm a little bit out of breath, but the question is, what is Protocol X? Bran, do you have any things on your mind that you want to go out while I take a little bit of a breath? I don't know if I'm the only one who cannot hear Bran. So, CK, can you hear Bran?
No, I can. Negative.
Well, Bran, you are voiceless at this point. So, the question B, what is Protocol X? As I scan the realms to see if Bran is back. And he is. With voice.
Hello, can you hear me?
Gotcha, man.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So you can all hear me now, yeah? Okay, cool. So, Protocol X. So what is Protocol X? So you can look at it from multiple point of views. So Protocol X is your generic rebase protocol. Now, I say that in the sense of realistically, anybody who makes a rebase protocol is there to, help our early holders. Now, I don't say that in a negative way. I say that in a very constructive way. That distribution of tokens are very, very important, but also sustainability is very, very important. So not only will we be having a rebate structure, we'll be also having a sustainable emissions structure. The way that will work is the rebase will start, I believe, at 1.77%. Is that correct, Neil?
That is correct.
That is correct. And every single month on the dot, the rebase will decrease by 10%. So every time that month hits, the rebase will decrease 10% until it reaches a point of 0.5%. So that is one of our ways, including, the generic buyback and burns, and also external revenue models that will help build the protocol. Now, Protocol X isn't just a rebase project. Protocol X will have 3 tokens in the ecosystem. Well, 3 aspects. So you'll have Protocol X, the rebasing token. You'll also have the X shares, which will be the quote-unquote NFTs that you guys may remember from Bigfoot. We can touch on that later on. Maybe Neil can explain a bit what the plan is there. And then we'll also have a sort of farming token. So if you haven't gathered already, we'll be looking at releasing our own sort of decks. However, we will not be focusing on one integral part is it won't be a launch pad. Well, at the very start at least. When we garner partnerships with tokens and we gain relative relationships with tokens, it will be for a mutual agreement. Now, when I say that, it won't be just, okay, let's partner so we can say we're partners. No, it will be for a benefit of the token itself. I'm not going to leak it in this AMA, but I know Shib touched base on a few people that he's already working with. One group he's already working with in main chat. So that is what we're looking to do. We're looking to build sort of a deck system, but also many, many more. I'll let Shib touch on the model that he wants to introduce because it was his idea and it's something he's very, very passionate about. But in a nutshell, Protocol X at the start will have 3 bases. So you'll have the revenue share model, which will be the NFTs, which will also have an additional feature to them, which we're currently working on now. It won't just be, hey, you hold an NFT, here you get some money. We're looking to make it more fun, more interactive, and have more value behind it, and not just that you buy a certain product and just stuck with that product. So we're looking at ways we can make that fun, interactive, and sort of quote unquote a gamble with how you're able to upgrade, yada yada yada. With the farming token, we are looking at farming in the sense of, so people that were currently Bigfoot holders or stake Bigfoot holders, you will receive an airdrop no matter what. So whether you had Bigfoot chests or you had Bigfoot, you will receive the farming token equivalent. Now, not to worry, the farming token will be partnered with Protocol X, so there will be congruative, I think that's the right word, methods to earn each. However, we're not going to make the APY unsustainable. We've seen it in the past, very unsustainable farm token APY ends up bringing a negative effect on the entire protocol. So we're going to make it sustainable, but also a good hold. So people aren't going to, stake it for a week and go, well, time to dump it. We're also going to look at adding extra factors for them two tokens. Now, one way we're looking for is a Patreon model. I'll let Shib touch base on that later. And also a model that I want to introduce is sort of gamification, but that'll be further down the line. But looking at further ways to integrate both tokens to create the ecosystem that we have. Now, I saw a question in regards to marketing. Now, I'll touch base on something I'll be playing a little bit of a part here. It was one of the questions, but I'll touch it before I pass the mic back to Shib. I've already got quite a few connections in the DeFi space. I've been around the block for quite a while. Some of you may know me as a mod in other communities, some community manager, and some I'm just good friends with. Now, in respect to marketing, I have got connections with AMAs, all of the Telegram AMAs, Discord AMAs, the large communities. We've already got that lined up. That's already set. We've also, if Neil wishes to pursue, we haven't 100% guaranteed this yet, but we also have a Certic link directly. CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, DexTools already set in line. So don't worry about the when CoinMarketCap, when CoinGecko, when all of that. We'll be looking at making that a first priority. And you know how the game goes. Money talks. So we'll be looking at getting them done as soon as possible and using some of the connections that we have in this space to grow the token proficiently and not miss out on opportunities as such. So we'll be looking at integrating them very, very soon. Pre-marketing for the token. As I said, we got some AMAs coming up. Well, not coming up yet, but the current scheduled timeline for Protocol X, we're looking at around 2 to 4 weeks. 4 weeks at a push. However, we don't want to rush everything in the sense of, having too much come at once. We know about dilution. We understand how that badly affects a token. So we're looking at a structured rollout of everything. That includes the farming token, the actual Protocol X rebase token, and the X shares. So we're looking at a structured release format that won't that won't be affected by dilution or anything that will affect the token. So we are looking at, we're already getting a marketing plan structured. Protocol X website is, I'd say, 90% done. We're just looking at, terminologies, reading through it, making sure everything's correct, making sure the animations are working correct. The core structure is there. The website is basically there. The white paper itself, Shiblord put a lot of time into the white paper. The white paper is outstanding and has a lot of overview. So hopefully we'll be able to drop that over the next week or so. Super moving on the thing. The DEX itself for Protocol X is already being built. Now that is already in development. No matter what was said before in the past, Protocol X has been in development for a couple of weeks now. The ideas have been flowing. The team have been working hard. Everyone in that list that Shiblord said have been spending hours every day talking, discussing, and finding ways, doing market research, ways we can improve the token, ways we can not just be a rebase token, and ways we can counter inflation. Now, I'm super excited for the website and stuff to drop. I think it's a very unique website. We're not going to have any of that jargon, calculator, BS, so to say, because they're ridiculous in realistic terms. I don't think that's a part of the DEX. It's not something we've spoken about. I believe it gives false, unrealistic expectations. However, we will look into having sort of sustainable, realistic calculations and, APYs on the website so people understand what they're actually getting to and being educational about the protocol. But we'll pass you on to Shib because I know one of the main parts that Shib is very, very passionate about is the Patreon model. So I'll pass it over to him, see if he wants to touch base a little bit on that, not give too much away, and then we'll go from there.
Hey, thanks, man. That was perfect. So I will get into that here in just a second, but he did mention Certic, so I do intend on, so by the way, if you guys don't know, I'm already doxed. If you would like, we could even chill if you're in Texas, but I'll obviously put out another dox. I do plan on getting KYC, and I will probably do it on multiple platforms because a lot of these rebase protocols are having trouble getting their listings just due to some verification issues. So I very likely will get either multiple audits, multiple KYCs. I don't really care. Whatever I need to do to make, the powers that be happy, I am more than happy to do so. And obviously that'll be a good thing, even if it's just for basic marketing, because a lot of you guys here know who I am, but the rest of the world doesn't, right? So that's a good thing for them, a little bit of verification, a little bit of security while we have so many uncertain factors in DeFi. So I just want to get that out there real quick. So Brand went into so much about what Protocol X is for, and I'd love to go into it even further because it is something I am kind of passionate about on. But first, something else that I'd like to build up to, and this is something I've been talking about since way back. I mean, February. This is one of my first ideas when I was thinking about building my own protocol, was a Patreon model. So if you guys know what Patreon is, if you don't know what Patreon is, go ahead and look it up. But basically, it's a user content platform. So some people have like podcasts on there. Some people do like, music breakdowns. Whatever they really want to do is that version. That's what Patreon is. It gives them a platform to do it. There's a subscription paid, stuff like that. What I would like to develop ultimately, and again, I want to make this very clear, I'm not going to dilute my focus. Right now, my focus is on building Protocol X. And then I just want to give you guys reassurance that this isn't the, burn out and move on kind of thing. I want to build up from here. But this Patreon theory will then allow me to develop that kind of a model on DeFi and on the decentralized platform. And ideally, you could host anything from your own little mini marketplace where you're selling whatever. You're creating NFTs for people. You're doing home artwork with clay. I don't really care. You're doing everything, podcast, you are streaming, you are gaming, whatever you want to do from a user platform standpoint. That's what I want to encourage and develop a platform on DeFi, which if there is one out there, it's not well known and it's not well developed yet. There are many of NFT marketplaces. I feel like this is something that isn't quite expanded out to the world just yet. And even if it does become something that is, it's something that I'm very passionate about and I think would be a great business model to engage in because I intend on doing crypto as a career for however long I decide to work, for maybe ever, because I'm just kind of, work-ish in my personality. So that is something I'd like to develop into and continue to grow other protocols while also really building up what I think can be a truly mainstream corporation that moves well beyond our little DeFi field that we're all in, because I look at the names here and I've seen most of you elsewhere as well. Like we all kind of know each other and we experience each other, but how do we experience the rest of the world? And as crypto becomes a true asset and a true piece of society over the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it takes, then these things are going to become more prominent. And if we've already had one building up for X amount of years, we are already that far ahead of the prominency, and we have already a little following and a development and trial and errors and all that good stuff there. So that's something I'd love to get into, and that's just personally appeals to me. I think that is a great thing. Obviously, I enjoy public speaking and engaging with the community, and there's so many other people out there that just want to sell what they are good at to the world. And whether that's breaking down a music video or building an NFT or whatever they decide is a good platform for them, I want to be able to facilitate that on a DeFi platform and in crypto. So that's kind of a longer term goal. And I say longer term, very likely we can get that developed in a relatively reasonable period of time. However, Protocol X is the here and now, and I don't want to go too far away from that. Obviously, that could cause some people to say, well, are you unfocused on this? I was unfocused on this because I've had to deal with some other nonsense the last couple of weeks, but nevertheless, that is in the past, and we move forward from there. So now I am focused on this development, and I truly look forward to getting this up there. A couple of other things I do want to bring up is some of us here may have been involved with rebase protocols, some may have not. A lot of their downtrends did come when the markets went down, obviously. So by nature, these protocols are an inflationary token. That main primary rebase token generally does not have a max supply. I know some now do. One that I'm very fond of, which if you guys, I'm going to do a shout out because I love them. Kyoto over there. They have a max supply after a year. Great philosophy as well. What we look to do here is to integrate that rebase system with a magnitude of additional deflationary aspects. So not only do we have that decrease of 10% in the daily APR over the course of 12 months to bring it down to a 0.5% APY, which, by the way, 0.5% is pretty legit. And I don't know where you guys bank at, but if you go to your bank and ask for 0.5% a day, they're probably going to call the police on you because you're robbing them at that point. So keep that kind of stuff in mind. In the long term, this DeFi world needs to become more stable. But how do we get to that point? Because then we have a year that we're playing with higher emissions and a kind of low demand on the markets. So we have various factors to help facilitate burns, including the fees. So the token will have buy and sell fees to it. A portion of that goes right to a pool that'll be facilitated for burns. There'll be an additional aspect of a lottery that'll facilitate burns. There'll be additional aspect with the NFTs that facilitate burns. Ultimately, I'd love for there to be, am I going to bring this? Yeah, why not? I'd love to implement some sort of a bot trading feature from someone who I'm very close to on a personal professional level to ultimately bring in another factor of burns where this bot is just working, 24/7 every day, doing his thing, and then twice a month that pool is burned. It's just making money and burning tokens constantly. That's what I want to have happen. We can facilitate a variety of things to involve the Patreon model in the future to help us also get to that point. But if ideally we can get this deflationary aspect to compete with the inflationary aspect, especially when we have a low token number of holders, that does vibe well for the successes of us here. Hey, whoever just requested to speak, I was about to bring you up. So if you do want to talk, I'm very sorry. I kind of get long-winded sometimes. So if you pop back up, I'll bring you up instantly. But until then, I'll just keep going. So there is so many aspects of this that I want to grow and develop into. And really, this NFT share system is not really, it's really nothing that's been successful in these kind of protocols yet. Some have talked about it, but they've burned out before they got this thing live. So who knows how serious they may have been. This is something that I've not only want to have ready pretty much on day one. I'm not going to implement it day one. I don't believe. I don't want to dilute the demand, if that makes sense to everybody here. But I'm going to structure it so it's done and ready to go. So it's not I'd like to get it done in a month or in 2 months. It's like, I have it done. When do I want to drop it? When is the community kind of, stagnant on the rebase and now they want something new? Boom, drop them this thing, let them kind of play with that. But that also allows me to incentivize those who have been engaged with Bigfoot prior, because the DEX brings in the implementation of that farm token, which will be called XSwap. Not finalized yet because it's not minted, but that's what I like that token to be called, that farm token. And obviously it'll be just a token of the DEX. Same tokenomics, 50 billion max supply, 5 billion released per year. The cool thing I love about that is I can coordinate different staking structures as well as farms on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, on a weekly basis, on an annually basis. It's almost limitless because I have a fixed supply per year. I don't have to worry about a crazy influx of people screwing up the APR because there's no limitation on that initial supply window. So things like that, I really look forward to getting as creative and designed into it, where that's not the primary focus. I obviously would prefer this rebase token itself to be the primary, because that's what is actually going to generate an income for people. But these other aspects are just another way to engage. And that's what I want here. I want a multifunctional product for us to engage and work with and learn about, because maybe somebody in here has never done a farm before and they don't really understand crypto farming. Well, let's learn about it. And I'm going to be very upfront with you. And those of us who have engaged in farm tokens, we know how they work. And there's some risk there. And I'd love to get that knowledge base out there and just allow people to grow into their own feeling. And if they just want to play in those farms, and so be it. If they just want to play in the rebase, so be it. The tokens, the NFTs, so be it. That's fine too. But this all has to work together to feed into the greater picture, which is benefiting those who elect to put money into the company itself. So that's honestly a pretty general overview, because I don't know if I sound more passionate on this one than I have in the past, but this is something that, myself and this team here, we've designed from scratch. We've just been going into it, and I truly believe in the success on this, not in the short term, or not just in the short term, but in the mid and long term as well, because we're setting it up to succeed. Now, nothing's a guarantee. Crypto is weird and crazy, and I totally understand that. Bitcoin can go to $1,000 tomorrow, and then we're all in a pretty bad place. But all things granted, we set this thing up to succeed. I try to lead it from above without some of the dilution effects of attention span that I was dealing with prior. Again, nothing personal. It's just the way that the functions were operating. If any of you guys have managed business, or hey, if any of you guys have gone to college and you have to do a group projects suck. Like they are awful. That's a good way for me to describe it. I don't want to take shots at anybody, but at some point things just don't always work out in those group projects, and you'd rather just do it on your own and facilitate the growth kind of thing. So that's where we are now. No hard feelings on anything else from the past, but nevertheless, the future is great. So I don't know if I said it very directly. I know Brand went into it a little bit, but everyone who did invest into the Bigfoot protocol is going to get benefit from both sides. So for those who truly believed in that NFT marketplace kind of theory, Green Yeti is going to take that route. I've released the rights to that marketplace itself. He is developing some new protocol based on that aspect, and he was he wanted some funding for that, so that's what they're doing over there. It's, in a sense, it's the same general philosophy. I don't know how he's going to structure the NFT side. Once I got the business part of it done with him, I just need a little break from conversing with those parties. I think that's understandable for a lot of people here. And again, no hard feelings. It's just where we are. I'm going to allow him to push his own narrative. And I told him that I would guide the community sentiment as necessary. So when he gets his Discord out, I'm going to put that out here for you all to see. And you can go engage with that over there. He is offering everybody a free mint. It's not going to be an airdropped NFT. He wanted to make that very clear because the Ethereum network, it is expensive to send NFTs. And that's just being real. Budgets are a little tight from everything that occurred. It is what it is. But nevertheless, we have to grow and facilitate the growth on our own. On my side, I'm going to do a 1-to-1 swap of all the BGFT tokens. So any of the tokens that you've accumulated, I've already done the snapshots that I can calculate the NFTs because there are 4,000 tokens per day. So all of that will be airdropped to the wallets. And I know there's some of you that have wallets that are not able to receive the BSC side. I don't know if I mentioned this, but we're moving to the Binance Smart Chain. So also important to note, if your wallet is not a Binance Smart Chain eligible wallet, we will then post that multiple times to update us with an appropriate wallet, and we will swap it out before we ever airdrop anything. I'm not just going to willy-nilly move on about it and forget about anybody who was in there. The NFTs, I'm developing a system to get them out there. So we only have like 100 and something NFT holders, and whatever it was, 646 NFTs, something like that. So really, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge portion for me to send out. So I can do that, but the NFTs are so different than the current structure. For example, they're not going to be a rising price tier model, so they're going to be a fixed price, and that is still kind of up in the air on how I want to structure that. But my general theory is that they will be between 0.5 and 1 BNB each. And from there will be some fixed supply of these. And I'm debating that number. I don't want to give too much information out. I'm kind of working with different strategists to see what makes the most sense. I don't want to dilute the revenue share side to the point it's not worth it, but I also want to feed the demand that it's going to take, if that makes sense. So I'll play that side out. I will give you guys more information on that as soon as I possibly can. So absolutely no worries on that. Timo, I see you here and here. I did respond to your ticket, so whenever you get a minute, hit me up on that ticket and I'll work with you, my friend. So no worries on there.
Yeah. So I just kind of want to, oh, pardon me, sorry, I've got a bit of a cold. So I just wanted to touch base a little bit on what you're sort of saying, Neil, is we understand. We know there's a lot of rebase tokens, and to be fair, to my knowledge, we are the first sustainable automated one. Correct me if I'm wrong. However, that won't be our only selling point. Now, the rebases are great. We all know eventually that inflation catches up. We'll be working our best. Not only will we have the decreasing tier model, decreasing APY model, we'll also be having regular burns. So we'll be pushing for them buy and burns as fast as possible. Now, when I say as fast as possible, I mean if the price dips, then it's a better entry for us. We're going to be pushing for that burn extremely fast, get it deflationary, and then once that APY starts dropping, your tokens become more and more valuable. Now, the light paper, will have a lot more information regarding this. But I just want to make it clear to people, there is still some things we are quote unquote working out. It is it's a project. At the end of the day, the base, the Protocol X, the X shares, the farming tokens, we pretty much know what we're doing. The first weeks of rollout will all be fine. Everything will be set in stone. The future will be fine, even. But we'll obviously be working in the background to improve everything. Now, I don't say that in the terms of we don't know what we're doing. That's not the case at all. However, what we like to do is we have ideas, we have structured ideas, we have discussions about them, bring them to the public, and then we reassess. It's something we've been wanting to do. The reason why, as Neil said, we're currently working on more details for the X shares is because we don't want them to just be an NFT that sits in your wallet that you do nothing with, and then occasionally you'll get money from. We want to bring more utility to that. We want to bring more product to that. We want to make the most out of it. Now, it's very simple to pay someone to craft up a picture of a chest and distribute it and go, hey guys, your wallets are now entered. We want to make it a little bit better than that. We want to have a bit more fun with it. We want to make it so people actually want to own them. They have a reason by owning them, whether it will be certain mechanics we introduce, certain things we implement. But I just want to, stress that we will always be growing. There will never be a point where we're not doing something specific. Now, it all completely depends. There is many, many, many ideas that the team have. We have so many that we haven't brought to public. For the reason being, it all depends on funding. Obviously, we have funding prior. Shiblord is funding this personally at the minute. The same way most projects do. However, obviously, if we have an unexpected higher raise than usual, then we'll be able to action some of them plans that we've gone, oh my god, this was a great idea, now we can bring it to life. So we've already got a structured plan for quote unquote worst case scenario, what we're looking to bring, and that's what we're deciding to bring public. Now, the reason why we do that is because what we don't want to do for people is overpromise and underdeliver. Now, everything we say that we're going to do, we know 100% that with the conversations we've had, with the people we've spoken to, with the development we've put in already, that they're 100% going to happen. Now, there is always 1,000,001 projects in the background that the team will discuss personally that you guys would probably blow your minds off if we told you guys. However, it's best not to bring things public until they're secured and in place. Now, that's one thing I wanted to touch on, because I understand there is so many rebase projects. Let's be real. We're not done. We know that. Now, a good thing about a rebase project is a distribution token. So if we do come with something down the line, maybe we have some better ideas, who knows? That will come up in the future AMAs. Then obviously, once they're distributed, once the APY drops, it brings more value to the token. Because if you were earning a 1.77% APY, and a year's time, it's now dropped to 0.5%. Now, that's not something to, roll your eyes at. That's still a decent APR per day, sorry. However, obviously you're going to benefit being earlier, and we can then slow roll out and distribute tokens. And obviously that gives us enough time to not have to worry about the burn catching up and inflation catching up, because then we've got that time, we've got the process, we've got the plan, and we're able to execute everything without worrying too much that everything's going to bite us in the arse. Now, as I said, the things are in motion. Things are working very hard. We have a dedicated team working personally. The reason why Neil never said there's specific devs on the core team, we do have devs that we're working with very, very closely, very respected devs, very, very, very good teams. I know one of them very personally. However, that's not the core team. That's not what, as Neil said, we have the core team of what we are. So wherever we bring, I know Neil said that he has personal devs, but for right now, we've obviously got that core team structured. Now, that's not saying everything's being outsourced. That's not the case at all. We just wanted to make it clear that we are the people sort of running the project, the go-to people you guys can chat with. We're always here for the community. There is always someone in the background working on the project, but it's always best to have the team that want to be contacted, the team that want to speak to the community, the team that are there to discuss, and, help give us, feedback, response to certain things. And then we can obviously pass that to the back end team. So I don't want anyone to think that it's just us 7 guys. There is more people in the back. Well, obviously, Neil explained that is just the core team. That is the front-facing team. That is the people that you guys will talk to, that you guys will speak with. Some of the teams we're working with now to build Protocol X, very, very good team. outstanding work. The website that Wox designed. So you guys know Wox. He designed the original Bigfoot white paper. I spoke to Neil. We had a discussion as a group. Wox's work is unbelievable. I think Wox is one of the, a very, very good graphics designer. I'd say one of the best that I've worked with, not only in proficiency, but also with how good their work is. I mean, the V1 of the website that he made was so good in our eyes that we went with it. So we were trying to find things to nitpick and this, that, the other. However, it was so good that we went with it. So big shout out to Wox. Well, hopefully we can drop that website soon for you guys. The same with the white paper. The white paper looks great. I know Shib and the team are just going to fine tooth comb over them. But what we'll do now is, just don't ramble on, because I know I like to talk a lot. We'll get into some of the questions. So question number one, we've already spoke about the market, and the market is in hand. I'm working closely with specific contacts that I have and Shib has, and even CK. So we've got a good, bunch of connections for CMC, CoinGecko, AMAs, YouTubers, the lot. We have the connections. Don't worry about marketing. A full marketing plan will come shortly. Now looking, are we pegged to BNB? Yes, we will be pegged to BNB. So the thing would be PTX/BNB, which will be the trading pair. I'm not sure if we'll have BAUSD liquidity. That depends on the farms, but we'll go into that in more detail in the future. Neil's already touched base on the current nodes, your chests. But Neil, did you want to give a little bit of an overview what will happen on the Protocol X side for people that had nodes?
Yeah, let me make sure here. Just making sure I'm answering the right question. Okay, so where are we at? Maybe I'm missing that one. So I kind of already got into what the NFTs are.
I'll read it out for you.
Okay.
I'm sure it's out there, but I can't find an answer. This is from Rograt. I understand about the current Bigfoot, but what happens to the current nodes/chests we purchased?
Okay, good. All right, so as far as everything Bigfoot related, from the website to the token to the NFTs, that is all in the past. That's all, quite frankly, it's just gone because I dismantled that part of it. So the whole Bigfoot brand is irrelevant. That token address is irrelevant. That NFT address is irrelevant. The only place it is relevant is what can we do with it from here. So from there, that's where we've integrated these additional airdrops and stuff like that, and even Green's free mint on his side, because we're basically, instead of just saying, well, we failed, close up the doors, because that's not necessarily what happened. It's just it was a totally different mechanism here. But instead of doing that, we're going to say, okay, hey, here's the NFT on his side, on Green Yeti side for the marketplace. And then here's all this stuff here from the Protocol X side. But your current NFT as it is going to have no direct value. It's just going to be it's a way for me to pull the data off of Etherscan and airdrop you everything new. So consider it like almost like a migration, but really you've just been like whitelisted and airdropped from this protocol to the next one. I guess that's the best way for me to explain it. I think that makes sense, hopefully.
Yeah, Shib, that makes sense completely. So just to touch base on that, for anyone who's new here, the project in the past was called Bigfoot. Now they've split formally, so the founders split. However, it's not on a bad term. Anyone that was a Bigfoot holder is going to benefit from both. I can't stress that enough. If you want to pursue your side if you want to carry on with Yeti, he is giving free mints for everyone that had a Bigfoot node, and obviously will be doing an airdrop. So you basically benefit from both. So the team that you was originally invested in, you've now got double it. So technically, so we've got the Protocol X side and we've still got the marketplace side. So they're going to be building on both. We're going to be building. They're going to be building. You can benefit from both. So don't stress too much about that there. Definitely. Yes. So yeah, that's what I meant by the BNB pair. The utility for Protocol X, we've already touched base on that. The owners, we've already touched base on that. and Shib went on a tangent and answered many questions. Now, I know Paul asked a little bit about the taxes. I'm not going to go on about the taxes now. That will all be in a white paper when we launch that. I know we're currently going through the white paper. I believe it's almost done. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shib. I believe it's just a few bits here and there and just verbiage and making everything correct. And then we'll get that live for you guys so you guys can have a full read on everything and be clear completely. But yeah, I just want to say as well that I just wanted to thank everyone. I'm going to bring Rocket up on stage now, but I just wanted to thank everyone for the understanding and everyone sticking by, even Green Yeti and their team, and Shib, and giving us a space to make this work and giving us a time and being very understanding. We are here to stay. Protocol X will be, in my eyes, a game changer. We're looking at putting, countless hours into this in development, and obviously looking to grow this into more than just a rebase token. Hopefully, we can share more news with you soon. But I'm going to bring Rocket up now to answer a question. Rocket,
Hey,
welcome to the stage, my man.
thanks. How are you guys today?
I'm alright, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, so I wanted to revisit just a couple things you were talking about and just sort of kind of run them by you and kind of my own thinking and make sure that I've got this right.
Yes.
So understand the three different parts of Protocol X, and if I'm kind of translating all this clearly, for the actual rebase token as a former Bigfoot investor, the way we will get rebase tokens will be we'll be whitelisted and then we'll purchase those at pre-sale. Is it something like that? Okay, cool.
So what you'll get is essentially Bigfoot was a farm token in a nutshell. Bigfoot was a farm token on the base of the utility, but what you'll be doing is, I believe the plan currently is if you held a chest or had Bigfoot, you'll be getting airdrop the farm token equivalent of Protocol X. Now, what we're looking to integrate is ways that you can use that token to also earn the rebase token and vice versa. So that won't come out straight away. However, we will be launching farms and pools. But yes, you'd automatically be whitelisted. We haven't gone through really the whitelist structure as of yet. Obviously, we'll have to make sure the website and everything's live, and then obviously that information will come at a later AMA. But we are looking around, I believe it's 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks max, until sort of pre-sale, going live. And obviously by then we'll have much more information to share with you guys. Obviously, quote unquote, we're early days. We've just started the integration into Protocol X yesterday. Protocol X was being built for a very long while before. However, we've obviously just migrated. So you will be airdropped the farm token. We're looking at other ways we can obviously benefit you guys and help you guys. But obviously more information will come regarding that in a clearer announcement.
Very cool. Yeah, and that leads right into kind of my second question, which was about now the farm tokens. Super cool to hear that you guys are thinking about ways to sort of earn cross tokens there.
Yes.
I know you took the snapshot. I got the everything information in there, all good. My question around that is, we're kind of in this funny migration period. Is the intent that at that time the snapshot is like kind of the value of tokens, or are you basically just kind of keeping tally of tokens all the way until the new one launches and then the plan?
So technically we know how the Bigfoot chests work. They generate 4,000 tokens per chest per day on a 24-hour basis. So although we have the snapshots, I know luckily enough, we didn't have many Bigfoot and stake Bigfoot holders. So it's not too much of a stress for us to go through this individually to make sure everyone has the correct amount of tokens. Shib's already said that we'll sit down and do this individually if we have to. So we've got the snapshots, we've got your pending rewards, you've already calculated the time off of that when you sent it in, and also we're currently calculating based off 4,000 per day per node, and we'll hopefully, I can't guarantee, I'll be completely honest with you, that it'll be the exact amount you were, but it's better than obviously saying no, everything's paused, you're not going to get anything while we migrate. We will try our absolute best to make sure that it is as close as possible to what it should have been.
Super cool. Yeah, no, I was just curious if it was like stopped at the snapshot versus kind of
No,
continuing.
I
Yeah, but I
have
hear you.
spoken about, sort of letting that roll over and doing it. Luckily enough, as I said, we didn't have to. We had more chest holders than we did Bigfoot holders. So luckily we'll be able to carry that over. And yeah, before we had the issue with CMC not listing Bigfoot, we won't have that next time because we will obviously, be using contacts and speaking to people to get that listed as soon as.
Awesome. So
Brilliant.
on the topic of the farm token, then I heard all the various rebase the various deflationary aspects of the rebase side. Are you guys going to apply that on the farm side as well? I know one of the issues with farm tokens is typically, that they're inflationary in nature, and they, if you look at most of the price profiles over time, they kind of follow what you'd expect. So,
of course. So, as Neil touched on earlier, the farming token is based on set emissions. So, I believe it's 5 billion a year for 10 years. So, that will be set out at a sustainable APY. And we could also integrate is sort of a tax percentage, whether it's 0.1%, 1%, whatever, on an in and out staking, to make that more sustainable. And maybe we can put that straight to a burn, and we can also implement other things for burns as well. We can implement silly things like lotteries. We can implement things like that. I'm going to say it, and I'll say it, proudly. They're not utilities. They're very quite straightforward to fork and, implement. So we can obviously add utilities like that without too much of a problem. And, incentivize burn mechanisms, of course.
nice. And then I guess with the X shares, I guess trying to make sure I understood what Shiv was saying earlier about kind of when they get rolled out. So I know you guys are sort of trying to figure out how the translation of that happens from the old NFTs to kind of what they become. But
of course, we don't want to dilute the market, and we've already said that we're not going to roll out anything too fast because we've seen in previous protocols, many protocols actually, over the past years, that when they push out things too fast, dilution becomes a thing. And what people tend to forget is 9 times out of 10, people will pull money out of your protocol to buy your next protocol. Now, if we're doing that, then we're basically just moving funds to another, and people are going to lose on tax. Without new buyers into the ecosystem, then it just works on a basis of we're just recycling the same money. So if we don't dilute it and we do it properly and structure it, then we should be able to have a success out. But obviously more information will come very soon regarding all of that.
Yeah, awesome. Are you, maybe it's too early to talk about, but I was curious if you're looking at, since we're not really doing the increasing price per tier model anymore, are you looking kind of at the original investment from the Bigfoot chest translating over, or are you looking at just like one, more of just like the number you hold?
Pass that one over to Shiv. Maybe you can give a better answer on that than I would be able to.
Yeah,
Shiv?
so that's a great question there. So from what I understand, again, without me knowing the specifics about whatever Green Yeti's building just yet, but I think his are going to follow a similar tokenomics. Ideally, that's what I kind of expect to happen. If he changes course on that, I have no control over that and no ability to reason with that. But that being said, the idea of it is that they're kind of like what Brand said. I cannot guarantee a dollar for dollar match because there's really no realistic way. If you paid $100 for yours and you get one NFT, well, then you just got 2 or 3 or 4 NFTs, depending what the price of BNB is. You know what I mean? And vice versa. So I'm factoring it in a way of I'm trying to find the median price, which is relatively, obviously, super easy to find, and trying to structure that price with the same philosophy that I'm working on. I don't want to force it to be that price if I don't think that price would sell out, for example. But I think it would. Somewhere around the $200 to $400 range, I think is where we can continuously have these basically revenue share NFTs continue to sell over time. And I don't expect them all to sell out in one day. It's not an NFT collection, for example, but that is kind of the general thought process that I'm working through in order to best incentivize it. One, for everybody here, because I do intend on having enough that it's not going to, it's not like I'm going to have 200 of these and you guys are going to now have to fight over 200 when there was the 600 of you, for example. So things like that I do need to work through to try to make it as fair as reasonably possible, while also maintaining the integrity for everybody else who engages with it. And I think that's where things like a whitelist can come into play. Things like different airdrops can come into play. For example, if I just take all of the contract addresses that have ever invested in Bigfoot and I put you guys on a special little whitelist category, anything that we do with the DEX in the future, you guys could have access to. Things like that. I can just help continuously incentivize it where maybe it's not instantaneously day one for everybody, but it gives the most chance of success for everybody. And I think that's pretty much what my goal is here at this point.
Cool. And I think maybe like as an example, I'm just curious how you're thinking about it, and not going to hold your feet to the fire on any of it, but like let's say one person managed to get 10 chests while they were at the $100 value, right? And then somebody later on came and they got 2 at the $500 value, right? They both put in $1,000. Are they going to end up with a near equivalent number of X shares, or is the one person who had 10 at $100 going to?
Yeah, again, so that's kind of where I need to figure it out. It would, if I were to do it for a strict 1-for-1 split, it would be based off of the USD comparison, obviously. But that, I'm not quite there just yet. That's kind of why I put details to be determined or to be announced or whatever I put in the announcement there, because I don't have that fully locked down just yet on how it's going to. I haven't even fully decided what I'm going to charge for these NFTs for everybody, for example. So that kind of, obviously a lot of variables that'll come from that. Also, partially why these NFTs aren't going to go out day one is I'm not fully there yet. I know the theory, I know the fundamental aspect that I want them, but I have a bit to refine with it. As compared to the rest of the protocol, that I'm confident this is how I want it, this is what I want, this is what we're building. The NFT side, I still have to work on to make it more incentive. And I'll kind of go into this for everyone here because it's a great question and it's fair. One of my biggest concerns with how the NFT tokenomics were with Bigfoot was an NFT marketplace is not really attuned to a high level of transactions, especially when it's a baby, right? So maybe eventually it'll become something valuable. But if the NFT holders are getting, let's say, 1% of the transaction, 1% transaction fees from the marketplace, for you to even make $1,000 back it would take some time, or $100, it would take some time, obviously, right? So things like that are things that I didn't necessarily love about the tokenomics, and it would kind of limit my general excitement and engagement because it becomes hard. Like when there is, let's say there was 10,000 sold, how can I tell someone, hey, this is where I can show you that you can reasonably expect a return on your investment if you pay $10,100 for this? It becomes very, very hard. So that was something I kind of struggled with on that aspect of it. And I just don't love the tokenomics from that side. So a little bit of it is me resetting it. That's why this is an entirely new protocol, and why I elected to literally cease operations of Bigfoot in general and just bring everybody with kind of thing, because there are things that have to change because the previous structure was not necessarily attuned to success, right? So if I can give you a $200 NFT and in 3 months you make $1,000, that's better than if I give you 10 NFTs and in 1 year you make $1,000, for example, if that makes any sense. So I got to run the numbers and all that behind it. And quite frankly, the first however long that I take before I bring the NFTs live will give me enough data to really get a very clear understanding of what that percentage of the fees that are going to the X shares will realistically bring to each NFT. And that is where I can really focus in and say, hey, by the math, by the numbers, not speculation, but by the math, this is what we have going on. And that allows me to focus it just a little bit better on the last final tweaks of it and allow it to be truly incentivizing for those who are engaging with Bigfoot prior to Protocol X.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and just one thing to just touch on there is you will receive value. That's what we're saying here is we've still got to run numbers, we've still got to run exactly what you're going to receive. If we say something now and it changes, then it's just going to, annoy people. So you will receive value. How much and what we're working on, that will come in a future announcement. We want to make sure that it's fair and that everyone does get value. So we want to make sure that the maths, as Shib said, works out correctly, that it makes sense for you guys, and that obviously you're not missing out. So we'll be working on it. We'll release announcements on that or in an AMA, and we'll have a full breakdown on it. Obviously, this is just pretty much an introductory AMA to Protocol X and what we're looking to bring. I believe, we've said a lot of bullish news today. There will be more to come, more we're working on. But obviously, these are the foundations. And yeah, we appreciate all the questions and people, sticking around and asking them.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Excited to see what's coming.
Thank you, Rocket.
Appreciate you, man. Very reassuring that I've been able to talk for an hour, by the way. And some of you guys might know me from other stuff. I love these kind of interactions, so I enjoy this. I'd love to get these Discord AMAs to be 200 plus people, and we're just popping off with questions, and people are requesting to speak, and it's almost hard for us all to manage and see every question that's posted. So that's what I want from here. As always, we are all active in the Discord all the time. So, of course, we can always engage with you guys whenever. I love the AMA setting. I actually just thought of an idea just today when I was in the gym of how to try to multi-stream this to Twitter. So I'm going to see if I can play with that. I'm going to do a test run before I do a live. That'll be cool, though. Run a Twitter Spaces simultaneously with this where you can all hear each other, because I have a thing called a cell phone, a separate microphone, and a computer. So I'm going to see if I can use all three and give us something that can be multi-platform. So ideally, that'd be great. I'd love to do some just random Twitter Spaces, get us popping, get us engaging. If you guys, I know it's been freaking stressful. So, I'm going to say this, I guess, with a grain of salt. But if you are so appeased to, please try to get the word out. We have a lot to build. I know Brand just quickly touched on it earlier. And Timo, you've asked about kind of where the money went. I'm building all of this off of my own personal funds. So the most organic and true marketing that we can get is the community. So the better community that we have, the more engaged community that we have, the more influx. I will pay for marketing. I will get that done. But a lot of this is like me working that day to get the to get the funds for the next day kind of thing. Beyond the build, I already have all that set aside, so don't stress about that. But a lot of the additional aspects, I'm willing to just work and continue to put my monetary side into it and my effort and my time. So please, if you do so feel inclined, let's get the Twitter rolling. That's our job, to give you some posts to share. Let's get engaged. Let's get growing. Let's build this community to what it should be. And I said in the post, I sincerely apologize at all that drama and, hopefully no one here is under 18, but all that bullshit that occurred over the last week or two. But I've structured this in order to prevent that from happening again. And that is where I'd like to trend this as a positive for us on every aspect, not just for our DeFi experience and for our wallets, but for our mentality. And that's the next goal here. So help us help you. Like I said, I'm airdropping you guys stuff. I'm not going to beg you guys to buy anything. You've all engaged here with us. But what I am saying is please try to help us on the social side as we work everything else to try to bring as much value as possible to you in the nearest and shortest time, and then prolonged into the future. Have I missed anything, Bran or CK, that you want to bring up? Or if anybody wants to request to speak, you're more than welcome to.
No, I think
it
you've
looks
covered
like-
it all.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think you've covered it all, really. It was just a introductory AMA. We do these every Monday. We'll try dropping some more. I know Neil said we were looking to Twitter Spaces and stuff, and maybe we could put up an Instagram a Telegram as well, running like we didn't have one previously prior to, Protocol X. So that's everything. In my book, we've been going for an hour. Guys, we'll be having one next week. I appreciate everyone who turned up today. A lot of good things to come. Website, contract on the way, white paper will be out soon. And we'll try to get that done for this week for you guys to read over and, criticize and give your feedback on. So I just want to thank you all for coming to our AMA this week, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you very much.
Hey, shout out to you guys. Thank you, Brand, CK, everyone in the team that has helped me get to there. Thank you to the community for sticking with us and engaging this AMA. Even if you are skeptical, I actually appreciate that. So please continue to ask your questions, engage with us, work forward. Same time, same place, every Monday here in the Discord. I'm going to try to expand it to Twitter Spaces, but I want to say thank you all. I got to find a new name for us. PTX fam, we'll figure it out. We'll work on that. Until next time, lads. Talk to you guys soon.